Overwatch 2 retail patch notes. Halloween Terror 2023. Get ready for the spookiest event of the year as Overwatch 2 transforms into a haunted battleground. Halloween Terror is back for your favorite game modes as Junkenstein's Revenge, Wrath of the Bride, and Trials of Sanctuary. I think that's a new one. A new Blizzard crossover game mode. Team up with the heroes of Sanctuary, power up their abilities, and defeat powerful bosses, including Butcher, Roadhog, Asmodin, Wrecking Ball, and Lilith Mora. It's kind of crazy how in this game mode you could power up abilities. Sounds like the hero tree that we didn't get for PvE chat. Samoa is a new control map where you'll fight on a tropical beach. If you guys watched the Overwatch League, you saw ya boy, your streamer, playing that. A gleaming city and inside a volcano. Watch out for deadly pitfalls or you might be swimming in the lava. Samoa will be available to play right away in a dedicated arcade card and will appear in quick play and other unranked modes starting October 10th, with it appearing in competitive play later in the season. I think new maps are what, chat? 2 weeks after the season starts or something? Hero Rework. Sombra. We approach the Sombra Rework by identifying key goals to guide decisions throughout the design iteration process. Make Sombra more committal when engaging, increase active feel in her ability kit, and uphold the current hacker fantasy. With these goals, there were multiple angles to tackle around her existing kit. Naturally, many ideas were also meant to address frustrations playing against the character, ensuring there is proper counterplay for enemies. Okay, her machine pistol. Damage increased from 7.5 to 8. I don't think she needed a damage buff, I'm gonna be honest with you, which is kind of crazy. A lot of people were like, hey, Sombra doesn't do enough damage. Sombra does enough damage. It's just that she doesn't do enough damage if you can't fucking aim, dude. I hate people, man. So damage increased from 7.5 to 8. Minimum spread reduced from 0.5 to 0. Nah. Number of shots until max spread has been increased from 3 to 6. And reload time reduced from 1.4 to 1.2. She's busted. Hack. Cast time reduced from 0.75 to 0.65 seconds. Now cancels stealth when hacking an enemy hero. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Cooldown increased from 4 to 6. Hack has reduced cooldown of 3 seconds if the hack is interrupted or if any non-hero enemy is hacked. The hack warning neck text will now appear when you are silenced and not for the remainder duration of the hack debuff. Opportunist remove. Stealth. Ability rework to be a passive. Sombra automatically becomes invisible after 3.5 seconds while not shooting, using a damage ability, or receiving damage. 3.5 seconds. Damn. Stealth movement speed bonus reduced from 60 to 45%. Fade out duration into stealth reduced from 0.375 to 0.25 seconds. Fade in duration from stealth reduced from 0.5 to 0.375. Updated the UI messaging to Sombra player when hacking health packs to reveal instead of detected, and now the message detected is only used when an enemy player is in the detection radius. Virus is the new ability assigned to ability 1 by default. Fire a projectile that damages an enemy over time. Damage is dealt faster on hacked enemies. Impact damage 10, 20 on hacked targets. Damage over time 100 over 4 seconds, or 100 over 2 seconds on a hacked target. Translocator can no longer be manually activated. Also, by the way, I just want to say this is 100 damage over 4 seconds or 100 damage over 2 seconds. While you can hack the person, if they're already hacked, they do more damage, and you shoot them, which you have less spread and you have more damage. Translocator can no longer be manually activated. Translocator will now automatically teleport Sombra after 0.25 seconds from being thrown or when impacting the environment. Reduces the stealth passive cooldown after teleporting. Projectile speed increased from 25 to 72. Holy shit. So I guess you can throw it faster and farther. Well, not farther because you teleport after 0.25 seconds. Cooldown reduced from 6 to 5 seconds. Cooldown now begins after Sombra teleports to the location of the transponder. And projectile launch initial vertical offset removed. EMP ultimate charge cost increased by 15%, so you have to do more damage to get your ultimate. And health pack percentage damage increased from 40 to 30%. Oh, health percentage damaging decreased from 40 to 30%. When you EMP, you don't do 40% damage anymore. You only do 30%. That's fucking crazy. That's a big nerf right there, 10%. But I guess she makes it up in her overall kit. She does a lot more. General updates. Heroes who die within 5 seconds of each other will respawn together, resulting in some players having either a slightly longer or shorter queue than the standard 10 seconds. The group respawn thing. Heroes who die more than 5 seconds from another player will still respawn in 10 seconds on their own, and these changes do not apply to competitive play mode. Wow. Okay, so this is only like quick play and arcade and everything. This is not in comp, because it would have been a little weird in comp, because you're like, sometimes you want to stagger someone and you don't kill them, and then you kill them like 5 seconds later or some shit, and then they would like, that would get them only faster respawns. So like the staggering doesn't even fucking matter at that point. We think that team fights are some of the most enjoyable moments in our game, but we've all been in matches where the team cohesion or lack of thereof makes these moments a rarity. These matches often turn into stomps for the team that can't group up. I mean, that's their fault for not grouping up, I'm gonna be honest with you. And preventing stomps is a high priority for us. As such, this season, we're modifying how heroes respawn for quick play. Heroes that die, blah, blah, blah. Heroes that die within 5 seconds of each other will respawn in a wave together. This means that respawn times will be sometimes changed in order for heroes to respawn together. If a hero dies further apart than the 5 seconds from another death on their team, then they'll still respawn in 10 seconds as they would have in the past. Yeah, that's stupid. If you don't know how to regroup, that's your fucking fault, or that it's that player's fault, and they deserve to fucking lose SR in comp, that is, or even in quick play. If you don't fucking group up with your team and you lose games because of that, that's your fucking fault. You have 3 avoids for a reason. Start using them. And if you're that person that's going to be avoided, learn how to play the game. This is the key important factor right here. We'll be listening closely to the feedback on this new system, and depending on the response and making any changes, we'll consider adding these adjustments to competitive play in the later season. No, that's dumb. That's dumb right there. Unranked lever penalties. 75% XP penalty removed. The penalty thresholds have not changed, but the mechanics have also never been completely explained. The last 20 games played, a player participated in are recorded. Leaving 4 of these 20 games activates the first penalty threshold. Leaving 6 of the 20 games activates the second penalty threshold. Queuing for most game modes is now suspended when a player leaves a match inside the penalty threshold. Players that reach the first penalty threshold will be suspended for 10 minutes. Players that reach the second penalty threshold will be suspended for 30 minutes. The queue suspension will reapply each time a player leaves the game when they're above the first penalty threshold, but not when they completed their games. And consecutive match XP bonus has been renamed to Endurance bonus. And Endurance bonus is XP granted when finishing matches without leaving the previous match. Developer comments. Previously, if a player left too many games, we would apply a 75% penalty to their Battle Pass XP that is gained. We found this had very little impact on those who leave deliberately, and severely impacted those who don't have much time to play but want to earn the rewards in our season Battle Pass. We're changing this to make it more difficult for players who leave games to be disruptive, while not applying too much impact on those who don't intend on ruining experience for others. I mean, that's fine, because let's say if a player is leaving games on purpose, they're punished. But like, let's say if you accidentally kick your power switch, or there's a storm and you lose the internet, I mean, then I feel like that's not really your fault. Story missions. You can now spectate any story mission that your friends are playing if you own the campaign pack for that mission. Hero Mastery. Scoring update. Bonus score granted from time remaining in the gold bonus tier is now accurate to 1/100th of a second. Previously completed games in the top 500 leaderboards are not adjusted. The user interface has now been updated to display this new time accuracy everywhere that we displayed time and score. Hero Mastery now supports replays. Replays are saved for any completed course that results in a new scoring record. The user interface for Hero Mastery replays has been customized to display score, time, and other information. Oh, that's actually pretty cool. Player progression. Lowered show priority for time played and wins sub-badges in the showcase. Added virus kills to Sombra's sub-badge set. All heroes share this time played and wins sub-badges. This change is intended to highlight each hero's unique sub-badges to better reflect individual playstyle. Challenges. Reduce the number of wins required to unlock Sojourn, Junker Queen, and Curie through hero challenges, and Ilaria is now unlockable through hero challenges. Hero updates. This is where it gets a little spicy. Orisa. Damage reduction decreased from 50 to 45. That's it? We are further readjusting Orisa's survivability. which was originally increased due to the armor damage reduction stacking change we made several patches ago. This particular change is relatively light, as we still want her to be an effective pick against teams that lean on crowd control. Teams that lean on crowd control, but there's no crowd control in the game anymore. They were taking out crowd control for Overwatch 2. Ramatra. Nemesis form. Cooldown decreased from 8 to 7 seconds. This change lets Ramatra project his influence more frequently with Nemesis form, which translates into increased survivability and damage. The flexibility also makes it less punishing if he swaps back to Omnic form early to use Void Barrier. Wrecking Ball. Number of shots to reach max spread increased from 20 to 30. Why? Wrecking Ball does not need a buff. Like, I do not understand. Why are they doing changes to characters that don't need fucking buffs? I don't understand. I don't understand. This change lets Wrecking Ball finish off enemies a bit more reliably when he's outside of point blank range. It makes him less reliant on his pile driver combos he doesn't need. Zarya, projected barrier. Size decreased by 15%, now matching back to the size of the particle barrier. Reducing the size by 15%, that's huge. And health decreased from 225 to 20, matching back to the health of the particle barrier. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So the only change that's there is that when Zarya bubbles her teammate, it's 8-second cooldown instead of the 10 seconds for herself. Yeah, also chat, the size decreased by 15% is huge. Like, imagine, like, going into cold water. That's a big decrease, right? Zarya is using her barrier on her allies more often to peel or initiate combination plays, which makes the ability more team-oriented, which is good, and less self-serving. This change preserves that interesting choice by keeping the cooldown reduced when used on an ally while targeting her energy sustain instead, which has increased significantly with the bonuses due to the barrier, health, and size. I'm gonna be honest with you, Zarya should never be meta. She's boring as fuck to play against. Damage. Now we're on damage. Bro, like, out of all these, Darissa, 5%, okay. Tank, cooldown decreased from 8 to 7, Nemesis form, whatever. Zarya, okay, good. They decreased the bubble, and they made it back to 200 health, good. Wrecking Ball does not need changes! Cassidy, combat role. Damage reduction increased from 50 to 75? Holy shit! Most damage mitigation from combat role feels incidental as the ability is used more for mobility or reloading. This adjustment allows Cassidy to be more intentional with his rolls to avoid large amounts of damage with correct timing. Oh god, so that means another fucking counter to pulse bomb, chat, just making pulse bomb more fucking useless. So now when you want to go pulse bomb a Cassidy, you're gonna have to wait for, you know, the Kiri Suzu. Hey, look at that. Okay, Kiri Suzu's out. Oh wait, to have a Baptiste, you gotta wait for a lamp. Oh my god, look, they used both of their immortalities. Okay, let me just go pulse bomb the Cassidy. Oh wait, you pulse bomb the Cassidy? He just rolled for a 75% damage reduction. No, that's crazy, bro. 3 fucking abilities to make pulse bomb just useless. May. Deep Chill. Removed. Endothermic Blaster. Damage per second increased from 70 to 100. And now immediately slows enemies by 40% instead of building up over time. See that? Yeah, like this. We like the 1-2 combo that Deep Chill provided, as it added an interesting layer for hero mastery. However, in practice, it increased the amount of crowd control suffered by enemy players while also reducing May's effectiveness. Rather than further increasing the slow or increasing the cumulative combo damage, both of which lead to a more frustrating experience for the opposing player, we are reverting May back to her balance prior to adding the Deep Chill passive. Torbjorn, Rivet Gun. Primary fire recovery increased from 0.48 to 0.51. Overload. Overhealth bonus increased from 100 to 75. What? They're nerfing Torb. Developer comments, Torbjorn's Rivet Gun can feel overwhelming with how quickly it shoots. This change reduces the firing cadence and makes it more manageable to receiving, and then overload provides too much defensive value, so we're lowering the overload. Whip Shot, increased damage from 70 to 80. More damage! More damage, bro! Are you serious? This change increases her proficiency at protecting her allies by rewarding accuracy with her most aim-focused ability. How about you aim at this? Alari, solar rifle, secondary fire healing per second, decreased from 120 to 105. Yeah, but how about her damage? How about her damage? Ilari's burst healing output is still a little too high, so we're lowering the effectiveness of the solar rifle secondary fire to bring her more in line with the other support heroes. You mean the other healers? What is this? Hero option and input updates. In addition to the hero balance adjustments in this update, we're implementing additional quality of life settings and additional input options for several hero abilities to give you the ability to custom tailor your experience of playing your favorite heroes. Added the hero specific options. Light gun input, primary by default. Sensitivity, 100% by default. Gun gyro aim sensitivity, 100% by default. Doomfist added hero specific option. Swap meteor strike, confirm and out. Zoom out inputs off by default. Junker Queen. Hide commanding shout timer off by default. Hold to use jagged blade off by default. Orisa added the hero specific option. Hold to use Terra Surge. Ramatra, Void Barrier, input, secondary fire, release by default, Void Barrier UI, on by default. Annihilation, cancel input options, change from ability 1, ability 3 to ability 1, ability 3 off. It's just a lot of different stuff I guess you could change now. Reinhardt added the hero specific option, cancel charge input, ability 1 by default with primary fire, secondary fire, or all as additional options viable. Whole hog can now be fired with secondary fire. Winston primal range melee attacks can now be fired with secondary fire and quick melee along with primary fire. Wrecking ball, hide adaptive shields timer off by default. Adaptive shields UI on by default. Pile driver UI on by default. Damage, there's a bunch of stuff. Dragon blade melee attacks can now be fired with secondary fire and quick melee. Map updates. Route 66 design changes. There are now additional places for the attacking team to take cover and around their initial spawn. These doors on the first checkpoint will now be close. Will now only close one of the two doors after the payload passes by giving attackers more options to work through the difficult choke points. There will also be fewer places to take cover in the later parts of the map. A lighting for Season 7, push. New Queen Street morning, Coliseo evening, Esperanza morning. I'm actually really surprised. Ever since they came out with push, they never came out with like a new push map, or it was Esperanza one. Hybrid, Blizzard World, night. Eichenwald, morning. Hollywood, morning. Kings Row, night. Midtown, night, which is new. New Bonnie, morning. Perioso, whatever, evening. Escort, Dorado, evening. Havana, morning. Watchpoint, Gibraltar, morning. Junkertown, morning. Circle Royale, morning. Rialto, evening. This is going to be a really cool one. I love the overcast maps. I love them. Shambali, night. Control, Antarctica Peninsula, night. Busan, morning. Ilios, evening. Lejang, dawn. Nepal, morning. Oasis, morning. Samoa, morning. New map. Flashpoint, New Junk City, morning. Servasa, morning. Hello, looks like you're enjoying the discussion, but you haven't signed in for an account yet. No, I'm not enjoying this conversation.